Yeah, let me tell you one thing, with high fashion clothes. Yeah, see how I've been in
Everybody, it's Tonic Dream. Welcome back. Today I'm finna show you how I made my latest song, Love Is War, with the boy Forso.
Cause this isn't love, this is war. And I don't need any more scars. Constantly falling apart. Cause you're taking shots at my heart.
If you ain't heard the track yet for some reason, I recommend checking it out right now, or check it out after the video. Kinda makes more sense to do it before the video, cause I'm gonna be breaking it down, but like, whatever, you know, you do you. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It would really mean a lot to a small channel like myself. I focus on a lot of musical content. I post my own music up here. I also review my subscribers' music, and I post some tutorials for artists and producers. And so hopefully you find some of that stuff entertaining and valuable. And if there's any sort of content you'd like to see me do on the channel, sound off in the comments, because I'd like to know. So now you know what we're breaking down. You got a good idea? Okay, cool. Let's dive in. So actually the working title for Love Is War started off as Safety. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It's just something that popped into my head. Here's what the overall project looks like. The thing that kicked off this song that we started off with were these chords right here. So the chords was D minor, B flat major, F major, and C major. After I decided I liked those chords, this is the sort of rhythmic pattern I came up with. Right, I just have these broken up into two different tracks here because I wanted different parts of the chords to do something different rhythmically. So like at the beginning, at certain parts I wanted it to be longer, at other parts I wanted it to be short and stabby. The processing on these is basically the same thing, but let me turn off the group processing for a minute here so y'all can see. All these synths is just a basic sine wave. Have a bit of stuff on it to kind of beef it up a bit. So without all this stuff, here's what it sounds like. Very video gamey, right? I just added in some unison to give it some width and power, some distortion to crunch it up a bit, some OTT, and then this group processing right here, whoop, just makes it more full. This one's just a sine wave, but it has more attack and decay. So see, on this one I'm automating the cutoff and I'm making the decay shorter on the notes so that it's just a stabby synth instead of holding out those notes. So I had these chords doing something fun, and that was rhythmically interesting to me. Added in this high note up here. I just like the way that sounded, and it kind of added a little bit of a melody. So once I had that, I added the drums next. I started with the kick. So this kick sounds really funky on its own because it's just a couple of beefed up layers. Here's one. I got one that knocks. And then one that's destroyed. So I got like a destroyed layer and a knock layer, and them together sounds like this. And that kick sounds like trash, and I'm aware of that. But when you put it together with this 808, it kind of sounds crazy. So this 808 is kind of something crazy. All right, it's a bunch of different 808s stacked together. I think the first one's like a Cymatics 808 or something like that. Second one is an 808 that sounds like the 808 from the box. It's one that I recreated, but it sounds pretty similar. It's just to add like some bounce and some slap. Got a square wave going on to add a little bit of buzz and tonality in the mids, and then I have a saw wave on there, and it is high pass filtered. It is just there to add some like static, some noise on top, some crisp. Yeah, so when you put all that together, it sounds like this. I got some EQ to cut out some of the really low sub. I got some saturation on there. Then I added some distortion from Isotope's Trash 2, and you're gonna hear this one really kind of changes its character and adds something to it. As soon as the note lets up, it lets in this sparkling noise, you know, sounds like a firecracker or something, and fizzing. So I decided to take that and bounce it into audio. I kept those little crackles in there and bounced them out to their own individual audio track. so I could tame them a bit, make them a bit quieter. What I ended up doing with the 808 here was processing 2 different layers. One crunchy sub, and one for more of a mid-tonal thing. I added the snare. It has 3 different parts to it. One is this layer. Adds just a little tinniness to the top. A more of a woody tone for the body. And then like a wide clap layer. And together it makes a really full sounding snare. I wanted a snare that just really attacked and hit and was very present. All that stuff collectively really made the basis of the drop. So I had this drop built out. Then I built out the arrangement and tried to figure out what to do for a verse. So I came over here and started working on some sort of melody that could carry through a verse section. So that's the melody I came up with. So what it's doing is it's just taking the same notes from the chords and just separating them out like this. It's just playing it as a sort of melody. Synth itself is really simple. I think it's from a guitar or something. I just bounced down into audio and put the audio sample into the synth and make a melody out of it like this. And all I have on here is some EQ. Just made that into a melody, built out a verse section, and moved into sort of like a pre-hook section right here. It's taking the same chords that we've been using, but just changes it up rhythmically a bit. Synth itself is just like a key preset that I have. It's basically just like a sine wave, very smooth and tonal. I layered it with a bass that I made. And then I added some like drum and bassy type of drums in there. I'm pretty sure these are just a stock sample from one of Logic's libraries. I just added some bit crusher to it, EQ, and then some saturation. From there, I just built out the rest of the arrangement, you know, made a second verse, a pre-hook, went back, made an intro, made a little outro here too. The outro section is just the same arpeggio from the verse, but halftime. That was everything for the beat. So once I had the beat wrapped, I sent that over to Forso because I knew that he would be the right person who I wanted on it. Again, we already worked together on a song called My Own Enemy. I think what I told him was just kind of follow the rhythm of the drop. I was thinking, I don't know, safety, you know, you switch the safety on and off of your weapon, somehow tie that into some sort of like love meaning. So once he sent the Vox back and I listened to it, I really liked what he did, especially for the hook.
No, this isn't love, this is war. And I don't need any more scars.
And as soon as I heard that this isn't love, this is war line, me and my girl had been getting through the Kaguya season 3 easily, one of the greatest anime of all time. And so I decided I kind of wanted to do something that tied in with that theme and had a similar meaning that can be related to sort of the story of the anime. So the story of the anime is there's this guy and this girl that both secretly like each other, but they're too proud to let the other person know. Want the other person to give in and profess their love to them first. It's a fun little series. I definitely recommend it. So I wanted to tell a story kind of like that, but a little less cute, a little more real. So I was really rocking with the hook, but the verse lyrics that he had come up with originally, I just wanted to change up so that they tied in with this new narrative. Some of y'all may not know this, but I was actually a songwriter before I was a producer. Back when I was doing my songwriting for people, I realized that it was a lot easier to communicate my ideas when I put together like a little production in GarageBand for them. So I would cook up a track so I could show the singer like what I wanted the full thing to sound like. And then that's when singers and people were telling me like, you should actually consider doing producing too. It's just something that kind of stuck with me, and now here I am. But when I'm writing songs, I like to get pretty hold up, let me switch over my camera. I actually like to jot my shit down by hand. So what I did was I was taking what Forso originally wrote and just kind of restructured it so that it told a more focused narrative. You used my love as a weapon, turned it against me. You reverse engineered my affection, profited from me. How can you live with yourself? You leave nothing but empty shells. He originally said something about shells there, so that's what inspired that. The reverse engineered thing, that was my thing, but he was talking about affection around here, so I just played off of feelings of affection there. You lay waste to all you set your sights on. This time I just can't let bygones be bygone. Here's where you can really see like where I was trying to go with it story-wise, but like, you know, I had to figure out how to say it. I wanted the lines in the pre-hook right before the chorus to really be saying something, and to really be saying like, I want to get revenge on you. I'm going to make sure you burn, something like that. After trying to send me to an early grave, I'm going to make sure you pay. Originally, he had said a line that repeated a few times. In the final version, he changed it. I won't let you run away, I'll make you pay, which just, you know, fit perfectly. So I hope that gives you an idea of how we really came together on this. He came to me with a really solid hook and strong melodies for the verses. Then I just kind of like switched up the verses and sort of refocused them into telling a more clear story. And then he, in the end, finessed some of the lyrics that I had written so that it just sounded better. He did some re-recording, and then I had the final vocals to work with. So at the beginning of the verse, he does this you, and I kind of wanted to highlight that in some way. So I decided to kind of throw that into an ethereal type of atmospheric space.
You use my love as a weapon, turn it.
Just threw it into this deep reverb, bounced it out into audio, put on this like pulsating sidechain so it has a sort of rhythmic quality to it. The pre-hook, for some reason, I had this imagery of just like sinking underwater, and so I just wanted that sort of feeling in the vocals. So I just threw on like a bunch of ping pong delay. To really drive home that feeling, I recorded and added this layer of running water. Paired that with the delays. That was the sort of feeling I was wanting. And then for this last line, right before the hook, it gets way more intense, a little more emotional. I just automated in some distortion and compression so that it sounded a little overly compressed. It sounded like he was yelling out his emotions into the mic, screaming right in your face. And I wanted it to kind of morph into that feeling. So at the end there, you know, it kind of feels like he's gotten physically closer to the mic. So for the chorus, he had recorded like a main layer and a couple of wide layers.
Cause this isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
So on these wide layers here, the pitching on them sounds pretty obvious. I took the regular layer.
Cause this isn't love, this is war, and
I just added on some subtractive EQ, and then I just used this pitching plugin to mess with the format. I shifted the format down on this one, and I shifted it up on this one. You get this sort of widening effect, this chorus-like effect.
This isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
When you just solo them like that, it sounds awful, but when you throw it in the mix, it should sound pretty cool.
This isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
On top of that, I added a special vocoder.
This isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
I added in this extra little melody, the second half of.
No, this isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
I made that little extra top melody for the "This isn't love, this is war." So I made this vocoder layer, and I just added some extra processing onto it. I just bounced it out into audio, added it into the project file, and I kind of, instead of treating it as a vocal layer, I'm actually kind of treating it more as a part of this synth and making these a sort of layer together. So yeah, I just thought it added a little something fun, a little extra spice to it.
This isn't love, this is war, and I don't need any more scars.
Yeah, so like all those vocal elements together, that's what it sounds. For the outro vocal, I do this thing that I just For some reason, I really like to do this with Forso. I like having sort of a distorted amp sound on his Vox and slowly unfilter that and let his real Vox kind of like ease its way through.
But I'm gonna fight through the dark. But I'm gonna fight through the dark.
Alright, so like I said, the song message-wise became heavily inspired by the anime LOXE X WAR, Kaguya, so the AMV choice was obvious. So I hit up this editor, Chris G. It's one of the best edits I've had on the channel, so it's not the last time you'll see him on the channel, that's for sure. The album artwork was once again done by Nikko. Not that Nikko, but the other one. He also did the artwork for Witching Hour. If you ain't heard that song, check that out too, please. If you like the artwork as much as I do, go tell Nikko that you fuck with it. He wasn't sure whether he liked it or not. Send a little positivity his way. That's all there is for this one. I did a breakdown of the beat production, the vocal production, the writing, the AMV, the artwork. If there's anything else you want to know about the song, let me know. Again, consider following or subscribing. I got a new single dropping next week, September 30th. It's gonna be with MMXVII, aka 2017, and Mercy Kill. Two incredibly talented dudes. I can't wait to do how I made it for that. I'm gonna put the pre-save link down in the description, so be ready for that. Got a lot more heading y'all way. And if you ever got music that you want to share and that you want my opinion on, send it to me and I will definitely see it. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see y'all next time. Tonic out.